President Dwayne Hankins.
Thanks, Rasan. Morning, everyone. Busy summer. How's everyone doing? Good. Just before I go into questions, I just want to kick off with a couple things on the business side. So obviously we're really excited to see the tremendously talented team that Joe has spent the summer putting together. Obviously completed a number of trades this week, and the fans and our staff have obviously have really responded well. On the ticketing side, we renewed at 92.5% this year, which is the highest we've seen since the Western Conference Finals run in 2019. So our fans are ready to go. They're excited. Last week, did a couple of days of season ticket business that were 10 times what we've typically seen in terms of a regular day this time of year. So that's been really great. I'm excited for the in-season tournament. This will be the first year that we do that, so we've spent a ton of time with the league working on how this is going to work for the teams. It represents a great opportunity, I think, for our young players to gain experience in really pressure-filled environments, and I think it will add some real intrigue to the early part of the season, which hasn't typically happened. Our broadcast, our role on the business side really is getting fans to fall in love with these new players. The roster's turned over a ton, and so our next gen broadcast that we've spent the last couple of years working on, we're really excited about. We obviously changed some of the folks out on the back end, and our goal really on this one is to have a real national feel to our broadcast instead of what you typically see with local RSN broadcasts. And then this time of sort of a rapidly changing industry, I think our doubling down in terms of doing our broadcast ourselves has been really, really helpful to prepare us for the future, which is obviously up in the air as it relates to RSNs. With that, we're also going to launch season 2 of The Trail. Last year, that was 8 episodes and won a couple of regional Emmys, which was really great, and obviously was a great behind-the-scenes feature for our fans to be able to watch and get to know our players. And then finally, we spent the summer launching the G League team, the Remix. So that, many of you were there for that press conference at the end of June, which was fantastic, and we're excited on that one as well. Season ticket sales have gone off to a good start. The team is getting ready to go. Everything the next few weeks will be the first game, the first practice, the first tryouts just happened, and those went really well. So we're excited about that, and I think it'll be a really great, again, family-friendly experience up in the Child Center, which is going to be fun. And then finally, on the community side, for those that don't know, serving on the governor's task force for the Central City Revitalization of Portland. That's been an important role that I think we're playing in that task force, and I think what's really important for us to engage with the city and try to figure out, how we can help in the revitalization of the city. So, for us, we drive 2 million people down to the Rose Quarter annually, which in the last couple of years, especially as traffic downtown has gone down, is really important to, again, bringing the city back up. So I think with that, I'll take any questions that folks have.
Hi, Dwayne.
Hey, Jason.
Can you explain what you mean by a national feel for the broadcasts?
Yeah, absolutely. So for us, the national broadcast feel is we hired Greg Fonseca from ESPN to take on the production role of our team, and he has a number of ideas that are going to help. Obviously, I think for us, it's not only storytelling, really getting in depth and helping tell the stories of the players both on and off the court. It's the graphics package. It's the cameras that we use. It's all of those things. And we just really want to have, a top-of-the-line broadcast. It's our vision that team has in place, and hoping to get that going.
Dwayne, you've talked before about the renovations to the arena being a 3-phase, 3-summer thing. You just did the first part of it this summer. Have you decided yet or nailed down which 2 summers between now and 2030 you're going to do the rest of it?
No, that's a great question, Sean. No, we haven't nailed down those two summers. So the way we're thinking about it is we have the Women's Final Four in 2030. That was awarded to us last year. That'll be a massive event for the Rose Quarter. I think, the amount of people that'll be coming from sort of all over will be great. And for us, needing to happen between those 2 years. 2 years before that, 2030 years, the year that we're looking at. And with that, again, we hope to also be in the running for an all-star game at that time. So we have to pick out those 2 off seasons. There's a couple of balls in the air in terms of obviously the lease with the city and getting that figured out, as well as some other things that we're trying to figure out in terms of other potential franchises, right? So.
Hey, Dwayne, what have season ticket or just ticket sales been like for the remix as well?
Remix has been really good. So, I'd say anytime you launch a team, you usually like to have a 12 to 18 month window. We had a 6-month window, so we're doing it on a really crunch timeline. But the support has been there, and it's been great. And what's really great about the city of Portland is they come out and show up for their teams, and so it's been about what we expected it would be, and the partnership support has been really strong as well. What's up, Owen?
Hi, what's up? Has there been any news or changes regarding ownership, and how does the ownership react to the last few transactions of the trades and the new team that's building up?
Yeah, great question, Oren. No changes on the ownership front. The team's not for sale, continues to not be for sale. Jody has continued to make efforts to really do things that are in the best long-term interest of the franchise. So you saw that with the remix and getting that up and running. We're also doing a big renovation to the practice facility with the kitchen this year, and Joe can talk a little bit about that when he's up here. And she's just been really invested in doing the long-term investment in the future. We've traded a lot of emails back and forth this weekend with ownership, and there's just a lot of excitement about the moves that Joe has made. So they're excited.
We need to talk about our Bears later, but
that was a tough one.
What's it like from a business standpoint to move forward from such a figure like Lillard?
Mm-hmm.
Challenges there.
Yeah. I mean, Damian was a franchise stalwart for 11 years, and beyond that, he was an incredible person on and off the court. I don't have to tell you that; you guys already know that. But it is sports, and we have to be prepared on the business side to be ready for anything. Be ready for losing seasons. Be ready for players to change. Be ready for all of that. And our goal is always to have a really strong foundation in place from a ticket sales perspective, from a sponsorship perspective, from a fan experience perspective. So for us, it's tough. He was again a legend here and will be forever. But we're also excited about the new team and the new direction that Joe has in place on the basketball side, and believe it's a really great thing for our staff to get behind and get excited about, and our fans to get excited about.
Morning, Dwayne. So obviously there's a lot of moving parts in the last few weeks. There's a lot for you to focus on, a lot for Moda obviously to focus on. With everything that's kind of going on, there's probably a lot happening. So what are some of your priorities kind of going into this next season? What are you really focused on if you could give like 2 or 3 things that are really capturing your attention?
Mm-hmm. Good question. I think the big one for us is finding our next jersey patch partner. So we've had a couple of opportunities come up to do that, but we're really looking for someone who brings a community perspective to that patch partnership, much like you see with Moda. Our partnership with Moda is fantastic because it's not just about them being on the building, it's about everything that they help us do in the community and we help them with. So we're looking for that sort of angle, and that'll be a search that we continue to take on for the next few months. The next one is the fan experience part of it. So, as Sean alluded to, we have a couple of renovation years coming up, but in the meantime, we need to do everything we can to keep the building up and running. So, that started this off season with the biggest single capital project we did, which was the end zone seating. That's done a lot of things to help us on the business back end. So, for instance, we can go from a concert to a game layout much quicker. The seats are better for those fans sitting in those areas, that kind of thing. We are adding some Amazon Just Walk Out stands. So if you haven't seen those, there's 4 of those that we'll be adding on the 100 level. Essentially, you're able to enter your credit card, walk in, grab what you want, and walk out. And there's a bunch of cameras that are able to reflect what it is that you picked up, and then it's a seamless sort of exit for fans. And then traffic in and out of the arena, that continues to be a big challenge for us. So we're adding things like digital signage to help with inflow and outflow of traffic.
Hey, Dwayne. A TV question. You mentioned the state of RSNs and the future of broadcasting basketball games. You've seen the Phoenix Suns and teams like that try other options to get it over the air and more accessible to fans. Have the Trailblazers started to explore those options?
So we have a really great partnership with Root Sports, and they are, when we did the deal with them at the time, we were really looking to create as many options for fans as possible. So in going back to Root, we were able to get back on, we were on cable, we were able to get back on satellite dish and things like that. They had DirecTV stream for streaming folks. They had Fubo. We've really been watching the Jazz really close, the Suns really closely, and the Golden Knights have done something similar. And, again, this industry changes all the time. We keep our deals on these things really short so that we can kind of watch things take place and see where they're headed. But our goal at the end of the day is always to have as many fans see our games as possible, and we'll always take that approach going forward in any TV deal. So. All right, thanks everyone.
Morning. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for coming.
You have a question? Do all that. We'll start with General Manager Joe Cronin.
Media Day 2023 is here. Again, thanks for coming. It's great to have you all here. I want to open up thanking Damian Lillard for 11 incredible seasons with us. Obviously, a Blazer legend, and we're very excited to see what he's got in store next, and we're rooting for him. Made numerous transactions that you're aware of over the course of the last week, which we think has pushed us in a new direction. Our goal was to, get way more athletic, way more physically capable, better defensively, a team that's going to play really fast and up tempo, and a team that's going to share the ball and trust each other and play together and stay connected. The brand of basketball that Chauncey wants to play. And the additions of DeAndre Ayton, Robert Williams, Malcolm Brogdon, Toumani Camara, those guys all fit that bill. These are, for the most part, young guys that are going to keep getting better and that are going to grow with us, but also very capable at the moment. I mean, DeAndre has a chance to be a dominant center in this league. Robert Williams is one of the best defensive big men in this league. Malcolm Brogdon is the reigning sixth man of the year. These are very capable players right now that we're excited about, and will complement the players we already have. These young guards that we're excited about, Jeremy Grant, Matisse Thybulle as well. So we feel like we've taken huge steps to really reshape and revamp this roster, and we're ready to get started.
Hi, Joe. Not to reflect back on everything that went on this summer, what was the whole process like for you personally and professionally in trying to navigate through the madness that was the last 3 months?
Was really committed to, finding the right deal that was best for the Trailblazers. And for us, that took the entire 3 months to do so. It was diligently working the phones, diligently planning, diligently staying connected and talking together and working through these different scenarios and, you know, establishing this template for what we want to grow from, you know, finding players that fit this style we're looking for, fit the capabilities we're looking for. So just consistent, constant working of these deals throughout the last 3 months and, you know, trying to be patient and meticulous about it.
Also, there was a report that at one point Damian opened up the idea of maybe returning, and you said, no, it's time for us all to move forward. Did that happen? And if so, why did you make that decision then?
I told him I personally thought it was a bad idea. The trade request had not been rescinded, and for me, I didn't want that to go into the season. I thought, well, let's find something now instead, and that was my approach. Again, just to do what's best for us and find the best deal where hopefully we could all be happy, and we feel like we accomplished that, where the Trailblazers were really excited where we are, and we think he's got an incredible opportunity to compete at the highest level in Milwaukee.
Joe, is there anything that you maybe regret or think you would have handled differently about just kind of the interpersonal stuff with Dame and the way kind of the whole summer went as it relates to all that stuff?
I think looking back, there's always things you would like to do better, and you know, I've reflected a lot on that, but at the same time, I had to do what I had to do what was best for us. And the process could have gone a little more smoothly and been less clunky, but end of the day, the result is what I was most interested in, and that was putting the Trailblazers on the right path.
Sean kind of got ahead of my question, but similarly to that, you know, what are some things, like what's the biggest takeaway you learned from the last few months this summer? A lot happened. For you, what's the biggest thing you learned?
When you're properly prepared and if your process is strong enough, and in this case, our process was strong in that we just worked it so hard, you know, and stayed patient and stayed consistent and really explored the marketplace. But I think what stands out is just that diligence that over the course of those 3 months to just stay dedicated to finding the best deal, plural deals, you know, in our case this time. But I would say just that diligence and that, you know, dedication, focus on that, you know, that grind of it all.
Joe, can you give us some insight on how you're thinking about Malcolm's future with the organization, and has he passed the physical, and was there any contingencies along those lines?
So the guys, both Robert and Malcolm are flying to Santa Barbara tomorrow. So we'll do the physicals tomorrow night and maybe into Wednesday morning. So little unknown on that. Not too concerned though. But player-wise, want to have Malcolm come in and be a part of this and get going in training camp and join this team and, you know, do his thing. He's obviously a really capable player and could bring some good on-court intangibles for us, but also, you know, as a veteran, as a leader, it's something we're going to need. You know, we have 4 rookies, 2 second-year guys, a very, very young roster that I'm trying to be careful about. I didn't, you know, I said I did this last year, and it's true, we were too young last year. We're even younger this year. I want to make sure that there's enough veteran leadership around these guys, you know, so that Chauncey and Jeremy and some of these, you know, any of the older players we have don't have to carry that whole load. So we're very open-minded to Malcolm.
Joe, as a clarification, when you were talking about that conversation with Damian, was your sense that he was open to rescinding the trade request completely and returning here and playing out the rest of his contract here? Or did you feel like it was something that would be hanging over the team as kind of a, I don't know, a soft standing trade request, or that was going to be something you guys would deal with going forward?
Yeah, I thought it would be consistently hanging over our heads, that he still wanted, this trade request was still active, and that wasn't going to change.
Then what do you think is the relationship like between the Blazers and Damian Lillard now, and what do you hope it looks like throughout the rest of his career and then beyond?
I hope over time that I hope the relationship gets stronger and stronger over time. You know, it's hard when it happens, like in the moment. I don't know if it's ever super pretty, but I hope that there's not enough, baggage left over. I hope over time that I know he loves this city and I know he loves this organization and the fans, and hopefully, he'll be able to be one with the organization whenever that next page is turned.
Joe, the transactions you conducted were with teams that basically emptied out the entire kitchen sink, every asset they had, whether it's Milwaukee, Phoenix, Boston. All those teams were at second aprons, competitive teams. What have you, if anything, taken from that in operating on those side of deals, being on the other side of that, knowing that's something you're going to have to build to in years? Because one of the things you talked about was, out of the exit interviews, was building around Damian Lillard and being eager to make those transactions. Ultimately, you weren't able to. So kind of how do you take the lessons learned from the teams that did make those big transactions and empty out the cupboard?
Yeah. It's know who you are and own it. It's strike when the iron's hot. It's opportunity doesn't present itself very often. These teams, Milwaukee and Boston, they know who they are. They know what they're trying to achieve. They are in full go-for-it mode. And don't second guess, making aggressive decisions. We are here to win a championship, and we're going to do whatever it takes to do so. And it was fun working with those two teams through these deals, seeing that mentality and learning from that. And there wasn't much conservativeness there. They were very, very aggressive, and they know exactly who they are and what they want. And I think having that identity and accepting and embracing that identity is really important.
Hey, Joe. Question for you on just expectations. What defines success for you this season?
Daily improvement. This is going to be a group that, while very talented and very capable and hopefully incredibly fun to watch, they have a lot to improve on. We're extremely young, as we've said, and it's also a group that hasn't played together for the most part. I saw a thing later last week that Jeremy Grant was our second longest tenured Trailblazer. So we've got a lot to work on. We have to build a connected group. We have to develop a lot of players. We have some guys that are going to take some time to grow into their own. So for me, it's really enjoying the journey, these day-by-day improvements, the night that we're really electric, where we see, okay, this is what we're capable of if we can put this together on a consistent basis. And at the same time, always evaluating, what do we need, what can we do better, where do we have to upgrade, those types of things.
Joe, you talk about evaluating. How do you do that with Chauncey as well? He's a young coach, essentially, still only his third year. How do you evaluate him and making this group better?
Mm-hmm. This is such an exciting time for us. Finally, Chauncey, he's got a group that is capable of playing the style of play that he wants to play. I talked about this a little, and I'm sure he'll get into it. The up-tempo, playing together, guarding, protecting the rim. So now he'll be able to implement all of this. We've got, some talented guards that are going to need him. They're going to need his leadership. They're going to need his mentoring. They're going to need his voice. They're going to need to be challenged by him. And it's Chauncey's got such a good demeanor, and the players think so highly of him, and his ability to both, give them a hug and get into them and challenge them. And I'm excited to see him do this with not just our guards, but also, guys like DeAndre Ayton and Robert Williams, and, to impact all of these, semi-veteran guys as well.
As a small market team, Portland isn't necessarily in the national conversation all the time. You've spent 3 months now being in the center of the national conversation. What has this summer been like for you, having all eyes on you in that respect?
It was a heavy process. It was a long summer for us. It was a lot of work and sometimes a little bit of heartache, but for us, we were so results focused that, looking back on the way the final deal went yesterday after those series of 2, and just looking back and reflecting on how the summer went, it felt like a long one, but a productive one that was worth all that effort and all that noise and all of the, bumps and turns and dips and ascensions along the way.
Joe, a couple things. First, just a housekeeping thing. Are there any injuries or anybody who's not going to be a full go for camp that we need to know about, or is everybody good? Everyone's good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then the other thing is, you guys obviously were doing research into different guys that you were maybe looking at trading for. What's your read and just your sense of why things didn't go with DeAndre in Phoenix, maybe the way that they hoped that he would over his time there, and what makes you think that it's going to be different for him here?
Sure. I don't know exactly why Phoenix chose to do what they did. I think if you ask them, they would tell you some of it has to do with cap management. That becomes a big piece of this, especially, as you start exceeding first and second aprons, you start losing your tools to enhance your roster pretty quickly. So I think some of that was just cap management stuff. I think sometimes also it's just time to try something different. And for us, that was definitely the case. We wanted to try something different. We thought Nurk was incredible here, and we're going to miss him. But at the same time, we're trying to do something different here, and DeAndre is a big part of us doing something different.
To follow up with that, is there a sense that you guys can get more out of him? And then also, do you have a preference of what you'd like to see with the guards, the Ant, Scoot, Shaden trifecta, who starts where? Do you care, or is that all going to be up to Chauncey?
For DeAndre, it's just come in and keep getting better. He's far from his peak at 25 years old. He's, especially with big men, we say this a lot, that it takes them a while to get to where their peak is. So I think DeAndre is at least a couple years from that. And I think this new team, this new experience, this new group will be really good for him. And the way we're going to play will be good for him as well. We're going to be really fast, and DeAndre is one of the most athletic big men in the league, can really change ends. Obviously really electric north-south, and vertically. So couldn't be more optimistic about what he's going to give us, and I think he's incredibly excited as well. For the guards, yeah, it's all up to Chauncey, and I think he'll tell you it's all up to them. Come in and get it. Who's gonna come in and earn the spots, earn the minutes, earn the ball. And I think all three of those guys are up for that challenge, and I think it's going to be really interesting to watch it play out.
Joe, throughout the iteration of this franchise, there's always been a guy, the man, be it Scotty, Zebo, B-Roy, LaMarcus, Dame. Who do you view as the man with this group?
Yeah, I think it's a little like the last question where it's come in and get it. I think we have many guys who are very capable or talented enough to be the man. It's who's going to emerge from that, who's going to emerge not just in their play but in their leadership and, in their dedication to doing this the right way. So there's a lot of unknowns with our roster. And I think the only thing we, are pretty certain about right now is they're just really talented and capable. The rest is going to need to play out, and that's where, we'll ask for your patience. And I think most of you in here definitely get it, but these guys are going to need some time to figure all that stuff out, because that is an important question.
Joe, you've had an opportunity to have daily exposure now to Scoot, and I'm wondering what have you learned about him that you couldn't have learned just through the pre-draft process and kind of those opportunities to get to know him, but what has kind of stood out in these weeks he's been in town?
It's been really cool with Scoot because he's basically been in Portland ever since Summer League. So, we've had a good 2+ months seeing him pretty much every day. So I think what I learned, especially like as the scout in me, is he's a better playmaker, he has a better point guard IQ, facilitator, get guys the ball mentality than I even expected. I knew he was really good at that, but he's really impressed me with his ability to get other guys shots. And you can just see how infectious it is. Not only do others want to share more, but guys want to receive more too, and Scoot's going to find you. Thank you all.
everyone. Our head coach,
What's up, y'all?
Chauncey Billups, is here. He'll open, and then we'll take questions. Coach?
First off, I really I want to thank Jody for just her constant support. You know, she's been incredible. You know, this has obviously been a really tough summer and different summer for all of us. So, I know me personally, I've talked to her more this summer, and I'm sure Joe has. Her support has been incredible. Her support for myself, her support for Joe, her support for Dame. Just her really caring about where our players were going, where Dame was going to have to go, where Nurk was like anybody that's put on and, you know, been invested in what we're doing. She's been so supportive. You know, we ask her for things. She never says no. I mean, she's just been incredible. And to me, not enough people talk about that. And so I really wanted to just thank Jody, you know, for her support. And secondly, Joe, I think Joe did an incredible job, you know, this summer. You know, his patience. He was diligent the whole time. You know, he wasn't reactive at all. You know, he stayed disciplined to what we knew we wanted and needed. And I just thought you know, you rarely see big-time trades go down where everybody made off and did well and feels good about it. You know, Dame is in a position, I'm so happy for him and excited for him. He's in a position, he's going to be on the most talented team he's ever played on. Nurk and Nas and Key, they're in, again, the most talented team they've ever played on. Even Drew, you know, not having to come here and play, you know, with all these young guys at a time like that in his career, him going to Boston, I mean, it's just been incredible, you know, and then what we've, more importantly than all of that, what we've gotten in return, I just think what he did revitalized the organization. I really do. And I'm happy about that, so congrats to Joe as well. Y'all can go with the questions.
Chauncey, you came here 2 years ago expecting to coach a team around Damian Lillard. 2 years later, the only player remaining, I think, is Anthony. Yeah. But Joe talked about this roster maybe fitting you and your style better. What are you excited about? And are you pretty hungry to win after 2 years filled with purposeful losing at the end?
Yeah, I'm excited about all of it, to be honest with you. And sure, you know, coming here, you know, 2 years ago, it's kind of been like a total reset. What we tried didn't work. You know, it's just that simple. It just didn't work. But I'm so happy about where we are right now. You know, Joe and I spent so much time together of what type of team we want to have. You know, Chauncey, what kind of guys do you need? And, you know, quite frankly, everything up until the trade request was this: how can we do the best thing for Dame? How can we put the best team around Dame? And obviously, you know, we weren't able to do it, you know, up until then. And so after then, it's, all right, so where do we go? What do we do? You know what I'm saying, Joe, if we're going to be young, we need to be able to play fast. We need to be athletic. We need to be, you know, we want to play that type of brand of basketball. I sat in front of you guys all the time talking about how small we were, or how all of these type of things that we didn't have. I think now the best thing is we can just start talking about what we do have. And that to me is very exciting.
Talked with Joe about this team not really having a defined guy. Mm-hmm. And he said it's kind of open for competition. Do you see that as an advantage or disadvantage?
I think it's a great advantage. I think you got a lot of guys here that are wanting to prove who they can be in the league, you know. So it's on me and our staff, you know, to basically handle that, you know, and make sure that we just don't have a guy that's so thirsty for that they're shooting it 30 times, like they're too thirsty to get it. That's not going to happen. you know. But I think you got a lot of motivated guys that are young, that want to prove who they are, and we're going to do all of that, and we're going to do it together, you know. You're probably going to have a situation where there's going to be so many different guys night in and night out that lead the team in this or that, or, you know. But to me, there's so much beauty in that. You become less predictable when you have those type of teams, you know. And I just always felt like when you are like that and when the ball is really moving, you get so much more engagement from everybody, you know. So I think that's an advantage, Jay.
But there's also, I mean, you've played that part.
Mm-hmm.
It's important to have that on the team, is it not?
A guy? Yeah. Well, we have guys. The truth of the matter is, none of our guys have been an all-star. You know, we didn't inherit that where it's like, all right, we went and got this dude that's a 5-time all-star that we have to. No, we don't have that. Like we're gonna groom that. You know, we're gonna raise that because it's gonna happen. But I don't think it's a disadvantage at all. You know, and I heard Joe say this, but we also got to realize how young we are, man. You know. We're so dang young, man. It's gonna be fun, but there's gonna be some, you know, there's gonna be some tough, trying times out there because of our youth. But no, I don't see that as a disadvantage.
Chauncey, just kind of building on that, for really since the post-LaMarcus era, the offense is predicated on spread pick and roll with Damian Lillard. I know you want to have kind of you've talked about it in the past, kind of having that equal opportunity offense. You've got to have a framework, right, to kind of build upon. So are you leaning on Anthony to kind of be your primary table setter to kind of get you into things when things don't go right? Is it, you know, looking at Ant and DeAndre as your kind of spread pick and roll partners and then letting Scoot kind of work his way in it? Just kind of how do you see that building upon itself throughout the season as opposed to just throwing, you know, Scoot out there and saying figure it out?
Yeah. Well, I think we the entire NBA is pretty much, you know, it's a pick and roll league. You know, you spread the court out. Last year, you know, obviously having Dame, probably best pick and roll player in the league, and then Ant, you know, coming right on his heels. I think with Ant and Scoot now, I mean, Scoot's athleticism and his speed, he's going to cause a lot of problems in the pick and roll, especially when you spread it out, his playmaking. He's going to be dangerous. So we're still going to be pretty much a pick and roll team. But obviously you add to that now. You got so many different players and, you know, Big DA who you feel can take advantage of matchups sometimes, you know, in spots where he likes the ball. So for the most part, yeah, we'll still be a pick and roll team, you know, because we got to find a way that my whole thing about offense is how can we create the chase? You create the chase by pick and rolls. You put teams in disadvantages by using pick and rolls and getting downhill, and now teams are scrambling. Now you got to make the correct play. So the one way to create the chase is by being good in pick and rolls, you know. So we'll continue to do that, Danny, but we have the ability now, you know, to run movement sets and, you know, play. We just have so much more potential.
Does having that framework of not having a first ballot Hall of Famer allow you to have a little bit more freedom in trying some different things?
It does. And, you know, it makes you – it's a gift and a curse because having a guy like Dame, he's so great that at the end of games, not only does the 20,000 people in the arena know where the ball's going, the whole world that's watching knows where it's going, and he still can get a shot and he still can make it. Well, now we become less predictable. You know, I can run the play for whoever I want to now, and know when I run that play. For instance, if I ran a play last year and used Dame as a decoy and Shaden got the shot and he missed the shot, y'all gonna be crushing me. You know what I mean? The world gonna be crushing me. But really, I'm just trying to maybe develop Shea a little bit. But it's like Dame is in there. Like, why wouldn't you? And it's fair, you know. But now, as growing these dudes and raising them, I can tinker with different things like that, you know. So I'm excited about that.
Chauncey, what has been kind of your read just from the outside looking in and watching it from afar about why things maybe didn't work out for DeAndre in Phoenix, and what do you specifically think you'll be able to unlock with him here?
Yeah, I'm not sure what really happened there. I just know, I always kind of have like a little unique perspective just because of my playing career. And then sometimes it's just time for change. He was there in high school. He was there in college. There's been all type of stuff surrounding his college time there. He's the #1 pick in the draft. His first year, he's on a bad team, and now they get these guys there to good. I mean, sometimes it's just time for change. And I think that was probably what happened with him, in all honesty. And I know for me, I'm really, really excited about DA. I think that, he was already a top 5 center in the league, and, there's so many different levels that he can get to. And that's something that we have to help them, with all of our other guys too. We just got to help them. We got to help them reach their potential. And that's what, that's my responsibility as a coach and our staff's responsibility to help him reach his potential. But, I'm very honest with him. We're not bringing DeAndre here for him to be Embiid, where we're going to throw him the ball 30 times a game and say, all right, go be the MVP. Like, that's not going to be his role, However, he probably will have a more expanded role than he had in Phoenix. But again, like, we got a lot of young guys that are going to be trying to figure it out. And y'all know how I feel about connectivity and being connected and things. Those things take a lot of time. I mean, we got 2 guys that we traded for yesterday that won't even be there the first day of training camp. So it just takes time. It takes time, but DA is going to be just fine.
Kind of building off Sean's question, you mentioned that you emphasized connection last year going into training camp. What would you say is the theme of this year's training camp?
Well, for me, and you guys know this, I've been trying to, build this culture of competitiveness, my entire time here. One of the reasons why I'm so excited now is that we have had a reset, and now hopefully we can start getting some continuity. That's the one thing we haven't had. I mean, I thought at the start of last season we were very connected, and then the injuries started happening. We got off to a really good start, and then, injuries started happening. We just didn't have enough depth, and, it just hurt us. But I'm always going to continue to be on that. Like, I'm so competitive, and I want our guys to compete every single play, every single practice, to help each other out. That's the only way you get the best out of each other. So that's the kind of culture that I'm trying to build. So nothing has changed with that. Obviously, the roster has. Nothing has changed with me. I'm going to continue to preach that. I'm going to continue for us to try to be the most connected group. But I'm also patient enough to know that takes time. It just takes time. And so we all have to have a level of patience with this roster.
A couple of guard questions for you, Coach. What's next in Anthony's evolution as a player? What does he need to get better at? And over the past couple of months, what have you seen in Scoot Henderson that maybe you didn't know you were getting on draft night?
Yeah. Well, I think Ant, I've been so proud of his progression thus far anyway. I thought last year he had a lot of struggles during the year, just really trying to learn how to play with Dame and deferring when he shouldn't have. And even Dame was telling him, don't defer to me, just play your game. But that's Big Brother, so there's just this inherent thing that it was tough for him I felt it was tough for him to climb over. But he still has some great games. And I think is primed to really take his game to another level. His confidence is just different. He's so much more vocal now. He's talking all the time. He's talking to school like he's just different. And I'm pretty sure it was bittersweet for him, You know, I can remember myself in my career when a dude that I looked up to and I played behind for a second was Terrell Brandon. And then we played together. I played, backed him up. And he went down and got hurt. And it was bittersweet for me, but I was also like, well, shit, it's my time. It's go time, So I'm guessing that's probably how Ant feels a little bit. I don't know if he will express that or can even express that. But that's how this NBA is. That's how it is. So I'm excited. And, with Ant, you talked about what things that I want him to work on and be better. Just his playmaking, him reading the game, him knowing when to attack, when to facilitate. He's going to be out there some with Scoot, some with Shea, knowing the difference, So just things like that it'll come and it'll be fine and I'll help him with it. And as far as Scoot, I'm with Joe on this. I didn't realize how good of a playmaker he was. I knew that he was explosive and tough and competitive and all of those great things, but he has a feel about him, about his game that, he has a way of, he's so competitive and he's always trying to win. He has a way of bringing you with him, if you will. For a young guy, that's not easy. But he does that. He can get to his spots pretty easily. He can really guard, He'll learn a lot of tough lessons this year, just by the way he's so competitive and he's going to want to guard everybody and it's going to be some tough nights, that I'm going to have to let him go through because that's how you learn. But he's been a dream, man. It's just been beautiful being able to watch him and teach him and watch film with him, and it's a lot of fun.
Chauncey, past couple of seasons you've talked about learning to be a head coach, but with this group, do you feel this is kind of what your coaching style fits? Teaching these young guys. Do you feel comfortable this is where you feel most at home teaching some of the next generation?
I feel good teaching anybody, but I think when you get guys that are very young that are coming into the league and, let's face it, every player wants to impress their coach. I've been there. I've been on the other side of that. I wanted to impress my coach. So the players, they try to do anything you ask them to do when they know it's important to the staff. I'm really excited more than anything because when you try to start building a culture, you have to really kind of talk about how you want to play on both sides of the ball, type of personalities that you want on the team, type of egos you want on the team, and then you have to find a way, which is the hardest thing, is to go get those guys. And now we've done a good job, of acquiring the type of players that we want here. And as a coach, a young coach like myself wants to pour into and be a part of. So I'm excited about that, but it's not like we're this complete team and ready. We're young. This is a first step. We're off to a really good start. So yeah, I'm really pumped up to have these young guys to be able to, bring something very exciting to the fans.
So we've been talking a lot about fresh starts, building blocks, and kind of taking a 30,000-foot view. Trailblazers fans in the city, I think, are kind of mourning a little bit in a sense and kind of just feeling this, end of an era a little bit. And you have so many young guys and you have such opportunities for connection here with the city and further out. What's your philosophy with that, with these young players, as a young coach yourself, with this just ripe opportunity you guys have to really connect in a new way that you haven't before with your fan base in the city?
Yeah, that's a great question. For me, like I said, I'm happy that me personally, I went through the 2 years that I went through. It's prepared me, for this moment to be able to. Now I really know, coming in my first year, you don't know what you don't know. I now know what I didn't know, and I know how I want to do things, and the messaging for my team, the messaging, I understand it now better than I did, even last year. And so having these new guys, that will, I'm sure, ingratiate themselves with our fans and you guys, being able to get them off on the right track and learning the game, how it should be played and played the right way. People take for granted that people know what that even means, that some of these players don't know what that means. You know, a lot of these guys that come into the league, they've been the best player on their team since they were probably 15. And now you come into the league and you get here and you're not the best player no more. So you have to learn how to play with other really good players. And the coach and the staff is not going to cater to you like the high school coaches did, the college coaches did. Like there's some learning curve here that I can help them with because I've been there before, you know. So I agree with you. You know, this is a tough kind of day and season because it is the end of an era with Dame, and we all got to be just so thankful, you know, that we were able to be on that journey with him and see him every day. I only had 2 years of it, but you guys have had a longer time, and just be thankful about it. And I'm sure all of our fans, secondarily, will be Bucks fans this year, you know, hoping the best for Dame until hopefully not when he comes here. But that's how this NBA works. That's how it is. Shoot, one day, hopefully Dame got a statue outside of this facility. You know, he earned it, you know. So, but that's a great question, though.
Coach, does Malcolm's presence affect Ant's role as a point guard?
I don't think so. Malcolm is I know Malcolm very well. We spent time together. I mentored him a little bit, trained him a little bit, so I know him. And I think it actually does the opposite. I think that he's going to be very beneficial to Ant, to Scoot, to Shea. And it's always good to have a guy like that when he can still play. I remember being kind of like that when I was older in the league, but I wasn't that good anymore, you know, so I got to tell you. I can't go out and show you and compete against you. So to have Malcolm, you know, at this stage, I think he'll be beneficial, you know, not only to them but to me, to us. He's just a grown-up, you know, and we do have all these young pups, and we got these kids that are very young in the league, and you need some grown-ups around them, you know, that can help them and show them. And Malcolm is the perfect guy, you know, so.
Do you go through a game playing 3 different point guards?
I think Malcolm, like Ant, can play both, you know. Yeah, of course I can.
Just one more quick one. I remember early in your career here, you kind of lamented that not all these teams are playing above the rim with their big men, you know, dunking and stuff. And you guys didn't have that ability. Now you got 2 big men who largely play above the rim. What does that do for your offense?
It's big time. It's big time. I think in the league today, when you can space the court and you have point guards that can get where they want to go, when you have bigs that can put pressure on the rim, put pressure in the paint, it breaks down the defense. You know, if you don't tag that guy, he's catching a lob or he's dunking it every time. If you do tag him, your playmaker is kicking it out for shots. So, I mean, we by far have the most athletic 2-5s, you know, as a combo in the league, and we will, you know, teams will understand that when they play against us, you know, on both sides of the floor. You know, we're going to put a lot of pressure on the paint on the offensive end, and then defensively we're going to try to protect the rim. So it's going to be a lot of fun, man. Thank you.
quiet in here.
Questions? Who would like to go first?
DeAndre, good morning, DeAndre. Why do you see this as a good opportunity for yourself?
New beginning. I get to show the world, show you guys who I am as a player, on and off the court when it comes to leading, especially helping young guys on this team win, teaching them how to win, teaching them how tough it is to win in this league as well.
There was a video of you making a tour of the facilities, and you said something about I felt like I just got drafted again. What did you mean by that? And do you feel like you have just a sense of renewal coming here, leaving a situation that got kind of a little weird for you?
Just the way I was welcome, and things happened so quickly. The trade happened, and I was done on the jet, headed here to PDX, and just felt like I got drafted, and I was on the jet to my next city that I was gonna call home. So, walking in there, seeing my name, seeing everybody around me, some of the facility people and some of the front office people in front just, showing me love as soon as I touched down. And, it really did feel like I got drafted. I felt the love as soon as I walked in, and I was, welcomed humbly. Most definitely. Like I said, coming on a fresh team with a bunch of young new guys and, me having a little bit of experience, I can help them, just teach them how to win and teach them how difficult this is, to win in this league and how you approach it.
DeAndre, how much does having those young guys energize you a little bit? I mean, is it? I know you've only been here a little bit, but is it different energy than kind of where you were before?
You're just hungry. You can tell that they eager to learn. Coach Billups, he has those guys' heads on their shoulders where they're coming in on off days, just handling business, and guys who've been in the league for quite some time, they are a little hesitant with things like that. To see some young guys who barely have a year under their belt, just come in and take care of business on off days, in the off season is pretty cool to see, because that's the type of energy I'm on. It don't matter how young we are, we still have to handle business.
DeAndre, Coach Billups was just talking about how they're not going to give you the Joel Embiid treatment where they're going to dump the ball into you 30 times, but he does expect your role to grow, and that seemed to be something that you wanted in Phoenix. Kind of, what do you expect your kind of role to be on this team, not just as a veteran player amongst a bunch of young guys, but just kind of the ins and outs on offense and defense, is kind of where you kind of see yourself fitting in and taking advantage of situations?
Mainly just establishing myself, to let the team know that they can trust me, whether it comes to patience, with our young guys, and, just being that example setter when it comes to defense, and, being a vocal point where, I can just lead them and not, give them constructive criticism, and, just helping them and being there for them, and, understanding that, the things they're going through, I'm going through as well. And, just guide them and just be there for them. I have guys that's been there for me, and, guys that were on me. So I think I know the terminology and how to pick people up and know my personnel.
DeAndre, this whole summer, obviously the Dame trade talks were kind of an ongoing thing for 3 months, and over the weeks there were different iterations of it that involved you. Like what kind of communication or heads up did you have either from the Suns or from your agent, or just kind of the whole process of when did you kind of know like Portland might be a possibility, and what was that whole process like for you?
I mean, on the day of it, I think midday, my agent called me and that was it. The GM for the Phoenix Suns came and brought me upstairs and told me that I got traded here, and then that was it. I thank him for handling it the way they handled it, and, just accommodating to my wishes, and here we are today.
You mentioned a fresh start. What's the biggest lesson you learned from Phoenix that you're hoping to kind of implement in this new chapter in your career?
Win. Every game counts. Win. And understanding that, this is a team's game. We need everybody on the team to contribute to just get one win, whether it's in the regular season or the postseason. Just understanding how to win the right way, and, what are we going to be known for in this league, when other teams play us.
DeAndre, you're just 25, but you're a leader, right? You're a leader on this team now. You're one of the older guys on the team. Are you kind of embracing that leadership role?
You know, I've been embraced it, you know, even when I was on teams with guys older than me. I feel like, you know, I've told them constructive criticism and in the heat of moments. You know, I've had my times where I had to speak and, you know, everybody's, you know, talking when I speak, and, you know, just times where it's a respectful thing, it's a respected thing. You know, I put in work, I put in the time, and, you know, there's times where you do have to say certain things for, you know, get your point across the right way, you know, to get the job done. We're on the same team we're on the same mission to get the job done. So that's one thing I can say is, you know, just being that vocal point and consistently just, you know, saying the right thing, no matter the moments.
Hey, DeAndre, welcome to Portland.
Thank you.
Curious about if you have any stories or experiences of coming to Portland over the years that may have stood out, whether that's, you know, the fan base playing against the Trailblazers, and also what your message would be to fans.
Yeah, I definitely know the fan base out here is phenomenal. I definitely came out here and got my ass whooped a couple times by a 40. You know, so I definitely know how the fans can get, you know, when they're turned up. So that's the fun part. The fans is all in it, and you know, we the show in town. So, you know, I'm gonna try my best to do what I can to just give you guys the best of me.
DeAndre, you know, obviously this team, there's a bunch of young guards. You know, how do you go about helping those guys kind of develop chemistry with you? You know, obviously you're going to training camp. You know, how do you kind of develop those guys, help them?
Yeah, and need some big guards as well. They're not no little guards. These dudes can, you know, they pretty big. I'll say, you know, just guiding them and letting them understand the physicality of the game. You know, creating chemistry through play. You know, we have a big training camp coming up. You know, I think that's going to be a mental thing. You know, just giving them certain terminologies that they'll use in the game. You know, coach will be on me on the defensive terms on how I must go about things, and, you know, just all of us just working together. We all young, you know, none of us know it all, and that's the fun part about it. We're young and we get to learn, but we're very hungry, very.
DeAndre, for people that aren't familiar with you and your game, can you just kind of sum up what you bring to both sides of the floor and to the team in general?
Dominance. I bring dominance. My name is Dominating. Me, I play with a lot of passion. You guys can tell. A lot of grit as well, but, you know, I try to take the hypocrisy out the game where, you know, I'm telling my teammate one thing, I'm doing the other. You know, I'm more like a team player who, you know, I'll make the sacrificial decision and take myself out. And, you know, less shots for me, but, you know, when it comes to winning, I'll be the down and the gritty guy to get the job done, close out possessions, and, you know, just take the blame on things like that.
DeAndre, for all your domination, if there has been a criticism of your game, it's been your motor, and that sometimes you're not as consistent as people want you to be. How do you counter that, and why do you think that is?
It's not countering anything. Look at the position I was playing in, the environment I was playing in. You know, it can sometimes put toll on your mental. You know, to be honest, I think I checked every list in the box, so a motor should not be anything of that. You know, I've accomplished a lot of things where my motor is not a question. Playoffs, no matter what it is, I play the best I can play. I play hard as I can play. You know, that won't be a question at all. That's one of the reasons why I told you guys this summer that I'll be changing the narrative. You know, I'm with an organization that wants me and wants me to succeed. So there's a lot more passion when you feel that mentally, and, you know, you're seeing that physically as well. So it would be a lot more grit and a lot more domination this year. All right. Thank you.
right, everyone. If you have questions for Mike, let's do this. Questions for Jeremy.
Jeremy, just sort of your reactions to all the changes this summer. Obviously, you kind of knew that this could be the way it went. What was your reaction when it finally went down?
It's a lot. It's definitely a lot. Something. It's a part of the business, though. You got to keep moving forward, regardless. We lost a lot of big pieces, but we also got a lot of big pieces as well. So definitely looking forward to making it work. So.
One of the main reasons you came here was because of Damien. So just what is it like for you seeing all this change over this past year? You came here mostly because of him, and now it's kind of your team in a weird way.
Like I said, it's definitely a shock. It's definitely different, but it's a part of the business. This is my 5th team in 10 years, so I'm accustomed to change, and you just got to make things work. And I think Joe and Jody been doing a great job of putting other pieces around to allow us to be successful. So I'm fine.
Jeremy, kind of a two-parter in the sense of you're now one of the elder statesmen on the team. That's kind of a transition for you. You've talked about you've been with multiple teams over your career, but now does it feel like your role has changed as far as expectations, as far as mentorship, as leadership, and maybe not necessarily fitting in, but being a part of that top-level structure? Kind of what does that mean to you kind of heading into this season, and how are you going to go about doing that?
Definitely. I definitely think my role has changed from what it was before to being more of a mentor and a leader to these younger guys. So we have a young team. So me being one of, if not the oldest player on the team, it's different for me. But at the same time, it's part of it. So I'm gonna embrace my role and do whatever I can.
Jeremy, what or who excites you the most about this team?
I think we have a lot of exciting pieces. I think Ant has grown a lot. Excited to get to play with him again. Matisse defensively, and then all of our new guys that we got, and Robert Williams, Malcolm Brogdon, DeAndre. I think I'm excited about it a lot. So looking forward to hurry up and getting this started.
What does the addition of 2 athletic centers like DeAndre and Williams do for you and your game?
A lot. Having 2 athletic centers that can, do virtually anything on the court. It's huge. I think it's huge for me defensively, being able to, funnel guys down there, knowing somebody, down there, ready to have your back on the defensive end, and then on the offensive end, just knowing that, whenever you get in trouble, you can throw it to the big guy. They can do what they need to do to get a bucket. So.
Jeremy, one of the things Scoot has said since being drafted is that he's ready to be a leader now, despite being young and despite being new to the league. As the resident graybeard, do you see that in him, and do you think that even though he doesn't have the experience that you and some other guys have, that he can be the leader of this team as a rookie or really soon?
Definitely. I think he has a natural leadership to him. He's a natural leader. So yeah, I definitely think he has potential to be that, pretty early. But we want to make it easy for him. We don't want to, put too much on him right away. But he definitely has a natural leader role in him. So I definitely look forward to that and him growing into that position.
I was going to ask about Scoot.
He took it. He took your question.
Jeremy, obviously in Detroit, you kind of saw, a bit of a younger team. DeAndre talked about how this team, some of the young guys seem like they have their head on straight, is kind of what he said. They come in ready to work. Do you kind of feel that with these young guys, that they've kind of got a little bit of different attitude?
Definitely. yeah, most, if not all, I think all of these young guys definitely got their head on straight, and I definitely think they understand that they got to work in order to, you know, stick in this league. And I think it's not something you really get with a lot of young guys. So I'm definitely looking forward to, you know, helping them to grow into the players that they're going to become.
I guess I'll just ask you how the dad life has been treating you so far.
Amazing. It's amazing. I love being a dad, new dad. So getting used to a lot of different things. So adjusting in that area in life as well. So.
Jeremy, how do you feel about playing the 3?
I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. 3 or 4 doesn't really matter, especially in today's NBA. A lot of teams go positionless, other than, you know, 1 and the 5, pretty much. So yeah, don't mind it.
And is that something that has been broached to you about this year?
Yes. Yeah, they asked me, and I kind of give the same answer. Doesn't really matter. Wherever you put me at, I'll figure it out.
So I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Coach. Really big opportunity for you and the team to connect with Trailblazers fans and really connect with the city and build something new. How do you really see yourself leading this team on and off the court and doing that and really building a new era for the team?
Yeah, I think for me, just want to help, you know, to create a culture for the young guys so that they can, you know, continue to grow in the right way. So whether it's, you know, pulling guys to the side, you know, making sure they're doing what they're supposed to, but also on the court, like just instilling confidence in everybody, making sure that everybody's feeling good and having fun and also doing the right things in order for us to win.
Do you feel that with the big contract comes a big responsibility? And also, how would you and how can you develop your game to what the team needs and the next step in your career?
Definitely. With the contract comes a lot of responsibility. And being the older guy on the team, or I don't even know if I'm the oldest, one of the oldest guys on the team, I understand, you know, my role shifted from what it was before and what it would have been to what it is now. Just, you know, mentoring, you know, everybody and making sure everybody's in the right spots and doing the right stuff.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Yeah. What was the end? I bet. I'll talk to you later.
I think Brogdon's got you. Brogdon's got you by but other than your numbers too.
You got me by you? Cool. I'm not gonna. Make fun of when you get in here.
Anyone want to start us off?
Hey, Ant.
What's going on?
Coach kind of described it as a bittersweet, you know, type of off season with Dame leaving. You know, obviously that's big bro, but at the same time that also kind of opens some things up for you, opportunities on the court. So I'm curious how you balance all of those emotions and what your expectations are on this season.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, you know, when somebody like Dame leaves, it's made a big impact in your life and in your career. It's definitely, you know, hits harder than maybe, you know, any other teammate leaving or anything like that. You know, it's just he was like kind of like the last one, you know what I mean, out of the group. And so now it's just turn the page and move on to new journeys. And you know, I'm just excited about this year and the opportunity that I have. And you know, like I've said, each and every year I'm gonna, you know, take advantage of the opportunity that's ahead of me. So I think it's no different for this year.
And when you take a look at this, you're now the longest tenured Blazer. So you kind of go
crazy.
from being the baby to
That's crazy.
being the longest tenured here. Kind of what does that mean? I mean, technically, Dame's kind of handling the mantle off to you, and it's up to you whether you want it or Scoot takes it, or whoever. What does that kind of position put you in right now? Is that something that you want to take that mantle to be the next guy after Dame?
I mean, for sure. I think, coming into the NBA, that's kind of like the dream. You know what I mean? Being able to be the guy on the team and, the man that's out of you and your teammates as well. So, I just take it along as a challenge and just a step into, a new direction in my development as a player, as a person, and in my life in general is, kind of turning the page and becoming, who I want to become and reaching my potential. So I see it as just another step in the journey, for sure.
Anthony, you played probably your best basketball January, February of 2022 after Dame went out, and you talked last year about sometimes struggling to figure out your role next to Dame. Now that he's gone, do you feel like you're ready to return to that guy and take over this team and basically run it at a high level like you did 2 years ago?
I mean, yeah, I think, each year comes with new, obviously new opportunity this year, and it's also going to come with new struggles as well. You know what I mean? It's going to be different from last year. It's going to be different from the year before last. I think each and every year is different, but like I said, I feel like I'm well prepared for it. Obviously this year is going to be, a big step in, who I am as a player and proving who I am as a player. So I'm just, excited for the opportunity and be able to show, what I can do at a full, my full self.
Anthony, I think we've all gotten snapshots of kind of the potential of this team, from Shaden's dunks and games and Scoot at Summer League and stuff. Can you maybe paint us a picture of what the runs have been like, and have you ever kind of just stepped back and
No, I think sometimes I kind of get caught up in actually the moment of playing and stuff. I don't really take a step back, but once afterwards, I kind of take a step back and kind of realize what's going on. And obviously we're playing. We're a very youthful team now, so we're playing at a fast pace, and we want to play at a fast pace. So it's just fun. You know what I mean? Just whether it's Scoot bringing the ball down the court, Shaden, and they fast guys that can get downhill at anytime they can or want to, and they just making plays from there, showing their athleticism, showing their ability to score and pass. And so it was definitely, looking back on it, was definitely a fun time because I've probably never played that fast in the NBA. Obviously we've been playing at a slower pace my first 5 years in the league. So I think this year is going to show, just another way that we can play that we haven't been playing.
Has there been any memorable moments though in these runs in September or anything?
Memorable moments? I think everybody showed, all the young guys showed exactly what, why they're here. Everybody had their moments. Scoot had his moments where he was getting downhill, making plays, making a lot of different passes, winning the game for his team. Shaden obviously, scoring the ball with ease. He's just naturally talented and can make the games look so easy. With whether it's shooting the ball or getting to the rim, making it, dunking in the middle of the lane. Chris showing that he can be a consistent player each and every day, doing his job. Ryan is there, picking guys up full court, showing what he's there for as well. So I think everybody showed different glimpses of what they can be.
And as the guy that's going to be running a lot of pick and rolls with him, what's been your thoughts on the DeAndre Ayton addition, what that's maybe going to be able to unlock for you and for the team?
No, it was obviously, DA is a great player, number one pick in my draft, and he's just a man amongst boys. I think he's easily one of the most talented bigs in the league, and he can provide a lot for us, whether it's on the offensive end or the defensive end. He just gives us, a different level of ability to play any type of defense or do different things on offense that make us hard to guard. No, not yet. Not yet.
Just wanted to know what your reaction was to seeing Damian in a completely different jersey.
Yeah, I saw that yesterday. It didn't look right at all. Like just from the first look, but obviously, change comes with everybody has to deal with change at some point. Whether it's you guys dealing with changing your lives, and even with Dame, being seen in another jersey other than a Portland jersey. So it was definitely didn't feel real looking at that, see him in the Bucks jersey. But I'm just hoping that he gets to achieve the goals he wants to when he goes over there.
And the things that you've talked about, each year you've come back and added something a little bit new to your game, whether it was working on your ball handling, working on playmaking. Kind of what was your mindset and your goals this summer as far as like what you were going to focus on, what you were going to improve on, knowing the likelihood of Damian Lillard getting traded and you having to assume more responsibility as a primary ball handler?
Just in general, I feel like last year taught me so much on how teams guarded me sometimes and Dame sometimes, where they were denying full court, not letting us get the ball and kind of disrupting us. So I think this year was more of just being able to handle the constant, being denied with the ball, getting bumped, and being trapped. And so now I'm still finding ways to be successful and making sure I'm durable for the whole game through that, because obviously it's easy to get tired, when they're bumping you the whole game, denying you, trying to get open each and every play. So just trying hard to deal with that, and getting better in that space, and also just stepping into more of a leader role. Obviously, making that come out of me. Being more vocal about the things I want to get done and want to do. So other than that, I think every summer has been the same for me in general of how I approach each and every summer and work out, whether it's working on ball handling or shooting. Continue to get better at my shooting, shot making, and passing the ball as well. So I think this past summer was I would say a pretty good summer.
So you talked about DA on the defensive end. Obviously, you guys are a very young team. So eventually down the road, what do you think your identity could be on that side?
I think especially obviously now we got Robert too. So I think that those two, what I mean. I don't think we've had that type of interior presence in a long time. It's from obviously from the starting and however they set the lineup up. But two bigs like that, being that dominant in the paint and have that much of a presence defensively, I don't think we've had that in a long time. So. I'm just excited, about it. And obviously somebody like DA is, like I said, he's, one of the most talented young bigs in the league. And I think he's, pretty experienced, obviously playing in the finals. And so he can always teach, the young guys about, anything that he's been through. And also Robert, he's been in the finals as well too. So they're young, but they're experienced as well. So I think we kind of got the best of both worlds when it comes to that. Thank you.
Questions for Matisse?
Matisse, with so many changes, again, you, like Ant, are going to have a bit of a veteran feel to a lot of the young guys, even though you're not in your 30s. Kind of, number one, how do you kind of go about that change in role for you? And number two, have you had discussions with coaching staff and kind of where you're going to kind of fit into things, either as a starter or coming off the bench?
Haven't had those talks yet.
I'm sure that will come during or after training camp. But as far as being a more veteran player now, I think for me the biggest thing is just being available and probably in my case having to be a little bit more vocal. But I mean, I have 4 seasons under my belt now, and for me it feels like a pretty solid foundation of knowing what I'm doing out there, or at least pretending really, really well. And yeah, so for the young players, for me, if I see something that I can help them with, just being willing and able to step in. And then for me also just continuing to learn.
Matisse, what intrigues you about this roster?
This is my first time playing on such a young team. So for me, it's a new experience. And with that, there's a lot. So I wouldn't say there's any one thing. I'd say the potential for the speed that we can play at is probably intriguing to most of us here. But yeah, probably that. It's going to be a lot of newness.
Can you explain why players generally like to play fast?
I don't know if that's always true. I mean, I played with a player who liked playing really slow for 4 years.
Embiid slow headline. As a defensive guy, though, what are you excited about in terms of DeAndre and Robert?
Yeah, I mean, having shot blockers is game-changing for players like me because there's this idea that like you have half a defender with you at all times, with as far as your teammates playing in help positions, and with the way I play defense and trying to funnel guys into uncomfortable situations where they turn the ball over or take bad shots, it makes it a lot easier having big presence at the rim. So for me, it's great. Like, I'm super excited to, like, if guys want to get crafty and think that they're going to blow by me and then have to meet one of them at the rim, like, that's great. I'll go pick the pass off from when you try to bail out of that shot. So for me, it's very exciting, and I haven't played with either of them, but have played against them quite a bit. So it'll be fun to have them on my team this time.
You mentioned being available, like as your sort of role as a leader. What was it when you were young, maybe your first couple of years in the league, that you feel like either you benefited from people in that position, or that you maybe didn't have from people in that position?
I think for me, one of my vets was Tobias Harris, and his willingness just to share. I think up front it was nice just to know that somebody cared enough to pour into me, and then down the road it helped to know I had a safe space to go to with any stupid questions. Because oftentimes as a rookie, you don't want to make a fool of yourself, or you want to at least present as if you know what's going on and what you're doing. And 90% of the time you don't, because this is brand new and it's a level of basketball you've never experienced. So to have someone who's done it and been through it that can talk you through it, and also it's safe enough for you to ask the questions that might seem really stupid, is a really good thing. So, I mean, for me, I would love to be that for any of these young guys, because I know how much it did for me.
What have your impressions been of Scoot so far?
Very fast, very strong. It's been fun to watch him navigate different styles of play, just as we played a lot of pickup and the teams have shifted every day basically. So with each team comes different dynamics. So to see how he's able to respond to having different teammates has been really fun. And to his credit, he's proven to be pretty dynamic as such a young player. And I mean, it's cool to see, and I think it'll be fun for all the fans and all of you guys to see once it's showtime.
Matisse, you were pretty excited to play here with Dame. Dame is excited to have you. You guys share an agent. What was the whole situation like for you as a person, sort of watching it all go down and seeing Dame leave?
I mean, it's a business, right? Like I ended up here because of the business of basketball, and so I understand it now a little differently than I might have before I got traded. And I mean, also just to speak on like peace of mind, like even for me signing this contract this summer, until I had it signed, it was actually quite stressful, just not knowing where you're going to end up, not knowing what you're going to make for how long. So for him, I feel bad that it took so long to have to just be like unsettled for that long, not knowing where you're going to land. I hope like it works out. Obviously, like you always want to see players end up where they want or where they can be the most effective. It leaves us with like like we've been talking about, a really young, a really fast group, a group that can build. And I think for me, being here, that's my main concern.
You mentioned being unsettled before, signing a contract, having it be stressful. You come here mid-season. I'm sure it was a bit of a whirlwind those few months. Just what has it been like for you being able to kind of set a little bit more roots down here, especially in an area of the country that you already have some roots in?
Yeah, I found a place to live last week, so I'm really excited about that because I've been joking with friends. I've been living out of duffel bags since February, so to now have like a place where I can put my stuff and have my things and start to settle in is very, very exciting.
What are certain elements to the game you personally worked on this summer and that you think you can bring to a team than a coach that has showed you they have a bigger role than what you played so far in Philly and last year?
I think my role is the same on any team in the NBA. I think what's different here, or the opportunity I've had here, and what's been different in my past is the involvement I've been able to have offensively. But at the end of the day, what keeps me in the NBA, what got me here, is what I do defensively. The things you do better than everyone else are the things that get you here, and like those things don't change overnight or in a year. So for me, it's always just been to continue to do that well, continue to do what I do better than everyone, and then just build on the things that I want to improve or the things that need to get improved. So shooting for me is a thing that was a problem of opportunity, and then when I got here, the opportunity showed itself, and I think the numbers also showed in my ability to do it. And then now just having an off season under my belt where I got to put in more work to continue to improve on that, I think this season will just be yet another chance to prove it some more.